You lie next to the person you promised forever to, and feel miles apart. The room is quiet, the lights are off, the world thinks your marriage is fine, maybe even blessed. You pray together, you go to church, you smile in public, but in private, something is missing. And you don't talk about it. Not because you don't care, but because you don't know how. Because you were never taught. Because somewhere along the way, silence felt safer than truth. And now the distance has a name, but no voice. This is the struggle many Christian couples carry into bed every night. Not just a lack of intimacy, but a lack of permission to even speak about it. You were told that sex is sacred. And that is true. But somewhere in the teaching, it also became something to fear. Something to avoid. Something to endure instead of enjoy. And now you are married, and confused. Because no one prepared you for this part. You love God. You love your spouse. But your connection in the bedroom feels broken, awkward, or even absent. And you stay silent. You stay silent because you think you are the only one. You stay silent because you feel ashamed. You stay silent because you don't want to hurt your spouse. You stay silent because you think talking about it makes you less spiritual. But silence does not protect your marriage. Silence starves it. God never designed intimacy to be a burden. He never created marriage to be a place where two people feel lonely together. From the very beginning, intimacy was part of His design. The Bible says in Genesis 2:24, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." One flesh, not just spiritually, not just emotionally, but physically too. This is not something to be ignored. It is something to be nurtured. And yet, many Christian couples struggle here more than anywhere else. Not because they are weak, but because they are unprepared. You were taught how to avoid sin, but not how to build intimacy. You were told what not to do, but rarely shown what to do. And so when the wedding day comes and goes, reality sets in. Two people, two different backgrounds, two different expectations, and a deep silence. Sometimes the struggle is rooted in shame. You grew up hearing that your body was dangerous. That desire was something to suppress. That purity meant disconnecting from your own feelings. And now you are married, but your mind has not caught up. You want to be close, but something inside you resists. You feel guilty for wanting. You feel uncomfortable receiving. You feel stuck between who you were taught to be, and who you are now called to become. Other times, the struggle comes from pain. Maybe your spouse feels rejected. Maybe you feel pressured. Maybe one of you desires more, and the other withdraws. And instead of talking, you both retreat. One becomes silent, the other becomes frustrated, and slowly, the distance grows. Then there is comparison. You see what the world says intimacy should look like. You hear stories. You watch things. And suddenly your marriage feels inadequate. But instead of discussing it, you bury it. Because you think a good Christian marriage should not have these issues. So you pretend. You perform. You avoid. But pretending does not heal. Avoidance does not connect. And performance does not build trust. Real intimacy requires honesty. It requires vulnerability. It requires courage. And most of all, it requires truth. The Bible speaks directly to this area, even when we don't expect it. In 1 Corinthians 7:3-5, it says, "The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other. Do not deprive each other." This is not just about physical connection. It is about mutual care, mutual understanding, mutual giving, not taking, not demanding, but giving. And yet many couples live in quiet deprivation. Not because they want to, but because they don't know how to break the silence. You may be listening right now, and thinking this is your story. You love your spouse, but you feel disconnected. You want more, but you don't know how to ask. You feel stuck in a cycle you never planned for. And the longer it goes, the harder it feels to fix. But here is the truth. Your silence is not your solution. Your silence is your prison. God did not call you into marriage to live locked away from each other. He called you into oneness. And oneness requires openness. It means you speak, even when it feels uncomfortable. It means you listen, even when it challenges you. It means you choose growth over comfort. Because love is not just about staying. It is about becoming closer, becoming safer, becoming more connected. And that does not happen in silence. It happens in conversation, honest conversation, gentle conversation, patient conversation. You don't need perfect words. You just need a willing heart. Start small. Start with truth. Tell your spouse how you feel. Not with blame, not with accusation, but with honesty. Tell them what you desire. Tell them what you struggle with. Tell them what you don't understand. And then listen, really listen, because your spouse may be carrying their own silence too. Their own fears, their own insecurities, their own confusion, and they are waiting, just like you, for permission to speak. Give them that permission. Create a space where both of you can be seen, where both of you can be heard, where both of you can grow. Because intimacy is not built overnight. It is built through trust. And trust is built through truth. And truth requires courage. You may feel afraid of rejection, afraid of conflict, afraid of what might come out. But fear cannot lead your marriage. Faith must. The Bible says in 2 Timothy 1:7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." You have the power to change this. You have the ability to rebuild. You have the opportunity to create something deeper than what you have now. But you must choose it. You must choose to step out of silence. You must choose to face the discomfort. You must choose to grow together. And growth will not always feel easy. There may be awkward moments. There may be misunderstandings. There may be tears. But there will also be healing. There will be connection. There will be restoration. Because God honors honesty. He honors unity. He honors the effort you put into your marriage. And when you invite Him into this part of your relationship, everything begins to shift. Pray together about it, not just about finances, not just about children, but about your intimacy too. God is not uncomfortable with this topic. He created it. He understands it. He cares about it. Bring Him into your struggles. Ask for wisdom. Ask for patience. Ask for understanding. And then act. Because prayer is not a replacement for action. It is a foundation for it. You cannot pray for closeness and refuse to communicate. You cannot ask for connection and avoid vulnerability. Faith and action must walk together. And when they do, change happens. Slowly, but surely, your marriage can become a place of safety again. A place of joy. A place of true connection. But it starts with one decision. The decision to stop pretending. The decision to stop hiding. The decision to speak, not perfectly, but honestly. Because the truth is, many Christian couples struggle in bed. But the real problem is not the struggle. It is the silence. And silence is something you can break. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. You don't need to wait for things to get worse. You don't need to wait for distance to grow. You don't need to wait for frustration to turn into resentment. You can choose differently. You can choose courage. You can choose truth. You can choose connection. And when you do, something powerful begins to happen. Walls start to fall. Hearts start to open. Love starts to deepen. And what once felt broken, begins to heal. Because God is not finished with your marriage. He is not done writing your story. And this part, this silent struggle, does not have to be the end. It can be the turning point. The moment where everything begins to change. The moment where silence loses its power. And love finds its voice again.